straight under. Like that. She just... Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man! At your service. Today, we are sporting, if you can see, the Hunting MacLeod. Now, folks, yes, we're still in the conservatory. Now, those of you who saw the last couple of videos will know that we've been existing, not just in lockdown, but in storm down, absolutely perfect storm of tempestuous fury, absolutely laid waste to this area. You see, because what you can't see, although you might have seen more of it on the previous video where I was playing Quint in the roof, in the gaping hole of the roof, where we're situated here, this garden here, and all the other gardens, and all the way around, and the cemetery over there, whatever direction the wind comes in, when it's strong, it gets whipped around what you can't see from this side, and forms like a little mini cyclone, tornado type thing, a twister, and it just whips, and our roof is here, above us, or at least part of it is, and the panels get lifted, and they get skittled in the storms. It's a long, tragic, terrible story, which if we had the money to invest in a whole new roof, we would, but we don't, because the crime rate round here is so extortionate. No, I buy too much shit to invest in proper, roofing structures. Who needs that in this day and age? As long as you're having fun and you've got merch to play around with and alcohol to consume. So, we still do not have the full roof there. All the panels are back. One of them is situated right behind you, right there. But the reason why, even now, 2 days after the whole thing took off and went flying to Kansas, is because the storm hasn't stopped. In fact, I'm saying that now, and the forecast was that today the wind was going to gradually, diminish, and we're now around about midday, and yeah, you can hear the rustling. There's a lot of trees. It's always rustling anyway, but the wind has dropped down. But I couldn't get up there beforehand until now because a great big sheet of perspex, I'd have took off. It's like, what's that? Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's Kilt-Man trying to fix his roof again, And so, yeah, it was just too dangerous. So, sadly, now that the fucking wind's dying down, yours truly will have to get up and start doing some proper man's work. Fix the roof on the old homestead. Shit. Bear in mind, I have fallen through this on too many occasions, shall we say. Anyway, hope you guys are well. What it is, now, we have been discussing, albeit storm intruded upon, Spartans, yes, the film 300, the helmets, the weapons of Spartans, because I love this shit, love it. And I did sort of hint that there was something that come payday, I was going to get it. Well, you know me, would I wait for payday? And it turned up yesterday. So I spent all day yesterday playing around with it. And the thing that turned up as well. And I watched 300 and 300 Rise of an Empire. The arsehole books are both there for those movies, and I love those movies. And I sat there wearing my brand new, but very, very old-fashioned looking King Leonidas helmet. Oh, yes. Fantastic. I'm going to show you. But anyway, I bought this thing because I just thought, I'm not waiting. I want it. And the way these things are, every time I get into something, it seems other people get into it too. Because, we've got 10 of these. Don't worry. They won't sell out. Oh, wait till payday. Payday comes around. Oh, I'm afraid they sold out. You're going to get any more? Oh, we can't now. That's it. It's a limited run. So I've learned that strike while the iron's hot. So, anyway, you've seen this. I did a previous video showing you this. That is the normal Spartiate helmet, the hoplite style. That is the Necker one. That is made out of plastic and vinyl and is cracked and warped to hell. Very, very definitely not wearable, other than by my young sidekick here, Mr. Kentucky Fudge. How are you, sir? Say hello to everybody. He says hello. But this, on the other hand, is infinitely better. Whoa, 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 whoa. Guys, feast your eyes. Look at this. This is the helmet of King Leonidas, complete with its horsehair crest and its big horsehair plume, which goes all the way down to the top of your arse crack when you're wearing it. Feels so good. Shut up, you. So, I will discuss this at length. The style of the helmet is the Corinthian helmet. Now, the Corinthian helmet is steeped in antiquity and the wars of the ancient world. Now, a lot of controversy seems to ride around these helmets. We know that the Corinthian style helmet was worn by Celts and Gauls and certainly by the Romans, with adaptations as all of these different races and creeds adopted them. But history seems to say, like, well, did the Greeks actually wear them? Well, there are numerous tomes from the poets and the writers of those days, Homer, Patroclus, and Plutarch, or whatever the hell their names were, I don't know, who do discuss these things. I do know, actually. I'm just having a bit of a laugh. And they do reference these helmets a lot. Also, you've got statuary, you've got bas-relief depictions on pottery, and other forms of artwork from the time, and they often show a Greek hoplite wearing not a great deal, sporting his weaponry, his shield, and a Corinthian helmet, often with the crest and the plume as well. Now, some historians always say that, well, look, they date actually after the periods, and of course, like anything, you would advertise, you would sensationalise, you'd make these guys look bigger, fitter, sexier than ever before. Well, yeah, look at our film posters, look at the way art and the media depict Hollywood stars. Of course, that's what you're going to do. But that helmet has to exist somewhere. They didn't just create that. Why would it be? The Romans loved Greek mythology, loved the whole Greek history. I mean, they didn't believe it was mythology. They believed in it, like Hercules and all this sort of stuff, like. And so their armour would adopt that sort of style. Don't forget, they took the testudo from the Greeks, who used phalanx and the shield wall. So a lot of their tactics had evolved. Why not the armour and the weaponry as well? I've already discussed how the Greek xiphos blade formed itself, evolved over centuries into the gladius, which was the Roman short sword sidearm of choice. So, anyway, they were made out of bronze. In the films 300 and 300, Rise of an Empire, and any other, Greek style movie, Troy, Brad Pitt as Achilles wears this as well. Only his is darkened and blackened. You can get that, but the versions I've seen which are affordable, at least by me at the moment, don't get very good reviews. They have discolorations on them, which seems to have been put there on purpose, and they don't look convincing. Anyway, this isn't bronze. It would be bronze, but it is not, in reality. But it is metal. It is steel, and it is quite heavy and beautifully structured. Inside you have an inner helm, which is a leather padded helmet, which we would have done. Don't forget, these guys are going to go into battle, they're going to wear this all day long. They're not going to just have a great big, ball of bronze sitting on their head. They're going to have some kind of comfort inside there, so they would fashion in like a leather bowl on the inside. This also has straps to go under your chin to keep it on. Famously, the Romans would use straps to anchor their helms under their chins. We don't know about the Greeks. Did the Greeks do that? At least I don't know if the Greeks did that. But why wouldn't they? Because if you're going to go into battle and this thing's going to rattle around on your head, just because you don't see it in the films, I think in reality you want extra bit of sort of security there to keep this on and secure. So that makes sense. And I've worn it with the strap on. I've worn it with a strap on. Just the helmet and a strap on. A big tartan one. The thing is, Kentucky, they believe me as well. As they should. But yeah. So, there we go. It's a thing of, it's highly stylish. It's highly intimidating. the face plates in the movies, the gaps are much wider. Why? So you can see the actor's eyes, his face, and all that. Like, you know, it's Hollywood. You know, if you invested in Brad Pitt or Gerard Butler, you want the audience to see that they're inside that. And of course, being actors themselves, they want to be seen inside it too. So that's why these come out a lot further. In reality, like this, they be in, because you want protection. And that is good protection. The way it comes down beneath the chin line, beneath the jawbone, protects the front, and it extends away from the face as well. So you've got an extra bit, because if your face was pressed up against it, and you got bashed by someone's sword, spear, shield, whatever, well, that's it. That good night, sweet prince. That's going to take your nose out. And once your nose is gone, you know, your eyes go all watery, you can't see a thing. And your field of vision is very limited anyway. So I'm afraid you're gone. So it gives you an extra bit of sort of, you know, protection there, that barrier. This model, of course, is pitted. We have the signs of, you know, age, wear and tear. Not a great deal. I am going to add to that. And this is like, you know, I do a lot of cosplay stuff, and Mrs. Kilt-Man's always forever like, you've just got this brand new jacket, and you're going to rip it out, like the Mad Max jackets. You're going to rip an arm off it, you're going to drag it behind the car, you're going to pummel it with bricks, you're going to grind it into the dirt with your boots. You've just spent a fortune. What? Well, you bought it to do that for, you know, to do it too. Now, I've never actually weathered steel before, so I don't know how I'm going to do this, because the Leonidas one, you know, when the great big fucking ogre battles him, and he does get the armour gets scored down over the eye hole, and it does scar his face. It takes a huge dent out of this here. I'm not going to start doing that, but I am going to batter this a bit more. They are all chewed up and battered. Now, the other thing is, if the helmet itself wasn't controversial enough, like did the Greeks have it? Because we know for definite that all the other races and creeds and warrior states afterwards did adopt this style. So Celts, Gauls, both wore this, and the Romans definitely did. But it's the crest. Did the Greeks wear a crest? Now, here we go. Now this is the fun part, because it's the crest is what that distinctive faceplate is fabulous, and the way it's two different things. You know, the Maltese is shaped there, and then this angular, sharp, vicious, you know, brutish sort of cruel knight's face, you know, bolted together. That's one thing, which is what you see all the normal soldiery seem to wear in the movies. But then you get the officers wearing, or the commanders wearing these plumes. Now, in Roman times, wearing a crest definitely that was the status of an officer, a centurion, and they would normally wear a transverse crest. That means the crest didn't go front to back, it ran across the top, side to side. And sometimes they were mounted as well, so they wouldn't just sit like that really does there, you know, in its own little piece. They would be raised even higher, so they'd be on like sort of stalks, pins or whatever, and then you'd get like that central panel, and the plume would sit above that. It just gave height, and theirs would be coloured. They'd be red, they'd be speckled, they'd have feathers in it as well, anything for decoration. But in the Roman times, and very possibly in Gaulish creeds as well, that would demark or denote someone of power and authority, an officer, a platoon commander, a centurion, whatever, a king, you know. In the film 300, Leonidas is the only one that wears that helmet with the crest and the long plume. He's the only one that does it. But what we do know of Spartans is that they wouldn't do that. And Spartans worked in regiments. They had platoon commanders, they had regimental commanders, and they had, you know, officers beneath that as well who command different sections. But the thing about the Spartan army, and we know this from the writings as well, is that anyone could do whatever they want with their helmet or their shield or their spear. They could tie talismans on it, they could paint it up whatever way they wanted. They could do that. It was an individual thing. Don't forget, especially the Spartan society, they were citizen soldiers. So they had every right to fight, they were the highest status you could get in that city state. You were a soldier. That was it. That was the ultimate you could ever get to be. And the king would be a soldier as well. Leonidas fought on the front ranks with his men. He died with his men, you know. But in the film, obviously you want to depict the commander, make him stand out, so they give him that. In reality, and this is what we're coming on to again. God, what's in this? Just lager, sadly, just lager, isn't it? In reality, anyone in those ranks could have worn a crest, could have worn a horsehair plume. Anyone could have done it, because the whole idea is that, you know, you've got this, you know, intimidating visage already. Part of armor like this, when you're fighting like that, when you're seeing your enemy and you're going head to head with your enemy, is to intimidate your enemy. So you're going to make yourself look bigger. You're going to make yourself look more threatening, and that's not changed. You go from modern warfare, Royal Marines, the paras, when they get into combat, off comes the tin pot, you know, piss pot. Your berry goes on because you want them. You're proud of who you are, and you want the enemy to know who's coming after them. Exactly the same in those days. You look at siege busters, you know, counter-terrorism, the black garb. SAS are famous for it, obviously, but a lot of special forces units adopt that for that particular field of expertise. They will wear the black flame-proof suit. Everything's tied in and cinched. You look bulky. You look barely human. And with the gas mask on and the hood, it's not only is it protection, but it's also to intimidate the enemy. When you looking like that, like a black demon from hell, coming straight at someone, that gives them a vital second or two before they can actually, you know, react to give you the chance to take them down. And that's exactly the same back in the ancient times, perhaps more so, where amassed on a battlefield, they'd all be there, you know, and you could be doing like some kind of Maori haka, which is again a form of intimidation, you know, but looking the part, trying to look taller, bigger, fantastic armour, you know, fantastic regimentation, and, you know, foot battle formations and pure discipline. Or like the Gaulish barbarians would be like growling and howling, you know, anything to intimidate the enemy, anything to look bigger, stronger, more monstrous, more efficiently brutal. And this sort of thing, as ornate as it may appear, added to that effect. So any individual Spartan warrior, and I would posit that any individual Greek hoplite warrior from any of the states could adopt this sort of thing. If they wanted to put a crest on, they could do so. And put the horsehair plume on, they could do so. What also is not known is that did they wear the transverse crest? Now, I don't know. I've read a lot of books on Hoplite and the whole Spartan fighting and history, and obviously novelizations as well. And in some of those, they do talk about certain officers wearing, you know, a transverse, or, you know, a cross bush, as they colloquially term it. But in history and in statuary, I don't think there's any precedent for that. Not in the Greek society. But it definitely seems to be a Roman thing to wear it that way around. To modern eyes, that to me always looks a bit daft, because you're presenting a wider target. You know, again, I might think of someone like, oh, like crosshairs on, bigger target there, bang, his head's just beneath that bush, you know. But in those days, okay, you're going to lob a spear or maybe arrows, but, you know, it is presenting a much more fearsome, wider, you know, countenance. But I still prefer this because it's more streamlined. It just looks better, you know, and you can't deny it. That is one of the most awesome helmets ever created. Now, as I say, this is, I'm not sure what strength steel this is, but it is good. It is definitely good. The welding with this panel is good. It's good. That's stable. This, when you first get it, is not attached, so you've got to slide it in there. But once it's in, it's great. Now, it should be horsehair. Now, I've felt horsehair. Yeah, that's another confession I'm coming out with. And it does feel like this. Because, you know, if it was synthetic, it'd feel like a paintbrush. I mean, you can get horsehair paintbrushes too, I know. But the synthetic nylon ones This, and I'm not saying that this is actual horsehair. The price I paid, I would doubt that it is, but it does feel remarkably soft, not as brittle, you know. And certainly at the back here. Well, the reason why I say this is that I've got a couple of masks with real hair, you know, the movie masks. I've got a couple of masks with the real hair on them, and this feels like that. It does. It doesn't feel as wiry, as scrunchy, as you know, synthetic. Although it has been treated. Same with the helmet. The helmet, I only got it yesterday, and it was coated in grease, which I thought was very appropriate for a Grecian helmet. Coated in grease to protect it, and just to give it a bit of a sheen as well. So, and I think because there's definitely something on this, it's been treated with something as well, because initially my hands would come away black, so they'd probably put some kind of dye on it as well, or some kind of oil on this as well. But it, you know, I'm not remotely arsed whether it's real or not. I mean, this did not come off King Leonidas' head. So, although King Leonidas' head did come off the rest of his body and was mounted on a stake, rumour has it his body was actually crucified as well. I don't know how true that is, but I've heard various rumours on that one. Xerxes was so intimidated by what the Spartans did at the hot gates, the narrow pass at Thermopylae, held them back for 3 days, and their spirit in fighting, and even when their weapons, there was only a handful of them left, they fought with their fingernails and their teeth, their fists, you know, and they bite Persian throats out, and they were trying to protect the body of Leonidas just to the last man, and then they were overwhelmed, obviously, and then Xerxes, in his rage, but also his fear of what Leonidas and his men had done, you know, got to make a show of this, not just anger on Leonidas for such effrontery, you know, for holding us back for so long, a mighty, you know, rumour 2 million strong, you know, figures get juggled about. I would doubt it back in that age that it'd be that many, but he had conquered very many nations, and he could call upon armies of slaves, so maybe, who knows. But that's the wind chime there. That's telling me that I've only got 8 minutes left to drink this. So, and also vengeance on Leonidas, but also it was like, look, I've got to show my men. My men are terrified of this guy and all of his men and what they could do. So I've got to make some kind of totem to show them that he's not to be feared anymore. His head was mounted on a spike, his body was crucified. The head was on a spike for definite, but the body being crucified, there's various accounts of that. But what is undoubted is that when his Persian thrall all marched past it, they did not mock or taunt the severed head of Leonidas. They actually bowed their heads down and looked away. They were still intimidated by this guy. And that just shows you what the power of the human, I'm trying to flex there, there's bloody helmets in the way, the power of the human spirit can do, you know, when you're committed to a cause and you have the confidence and the skills and the bravery to back it up. So, there we have the Spartan helmet. And this is sold, built, constructed, sculpted, forged as the King Leonidas helmet. And it does look a hell of a lot like it. It does. The only difference being it hasn't got as much damage on it. But hey, I haven't fought off 2 million Persians yet. And that these are closer in, so you don't get to see a lovely Hollywood face. Now, of course, in my case, that's probably a damn good thing. So, cut the bullshit. Put the helmet on, Kilt-Man. Just do it. I won't tie the strap just yet. There you go. This is Sparta. This is where we hold them. This is where we fight. This is where they die. You couldn't ask for a more common sense approach to a coming battle. This is where we fight. This is where they die. Now, as you can probably see, there's quite a gap between my face and the frontage. And as I said, that would be a good thing. Now, once you've tied that on, this does not swivel, it does not move about. It's nice and tight, very, very comfy in fact. And despite how heavy it is, I mean, obviously it would wear you down after a while, but you would get used to that. Not that I intend to wear it, you know, going out in the streets, walking the dog, although, you know, I wouldn't put it past me. Isn't it great? And it's so iconic as well, isn't it? It feels really good. Doesn't do your hair any good. By the way, as I said in the previous video, the Spartans wore long hair. If they had hair, that is. You know, they wore long hair, and when they put the helmet on, they would tie it, and they would call it a horsetail. Nowadays we call it a ponytail, but hey, we're just splitting hairs, aren't we? But yeah, you tie that back. But they wanted luxurious long locks, and they would decorate their hair before going into battle as well. And then afterwards, as a purification of Phobos, I think I said in the previous video, if you heard it over the stormy hullabaloo, Phobos means fear. And they did a whole psychology. From an early age, part of their discipline and training was about the psychology of warfare and how to control and not eradicate, but use fear to its advantage, how to relax the muscles where fear resides, the loins, you know, your face, your shoulders, the backs of your legs, you know, your knees, how to relax all of that before going in, and to keep a sense of humour, keep bravado going, and to mock death. But as a flip side of that, what you would get after a battle, or what you would get after a campaign, or the loss of somebody close to them, because the whole point of combat is to look after the man next to you. Otherwise, you won't go into battle unless you know that you can depend on your mates, and that's got to be across the entire board. Everyone's got to be looking after the guy beside him, his mates, his pals, his buddies. And once you know that, and you know that if you fall in battle, your mate will come and get you as well, then other enemies don't have that kind of philosophy. Back in those days, Xerxes' army, they were slaves. They were terrified half the time of their own masters, so they had no such camaraderie. But anyway, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so they learn to relax the muscles of the face and to use a sense of humour, take a pride in your appearance. So going to battle, they would braid their hair, they would, you know, put oils and stuff, you know, and put their moisturiser on. Maybe that's what this is on the helmet. It's helmet moisturiser. I've seen that advertised somewhere, but it wasn't for these. But then afterwards, it wasn't uncommon for these superlative warriors, these men of no fear, to collapse and weep. And that, the idea behind that was, and you know, that wasn't frowned upon, that wasn't a sign of weakness. That was the idea that, look, you've got two halves. Your better half is the half that stays at home with your family, with the city, and loves, you know, the kids and nature, you know. The other half is the half that goes and fights. But when you go and fight, you have to forget all that lovely-dovey, peaceful side. You have to forget all that. So, afterwards, after the bestial side's done its job, then you have to allow Phobos to return. That's the husky shaking head over there. She disagrees, obviously. She knows no fear, just fair. And you have to return the equilibrium back, the balance. So fear has to come back in to allow the more peaceful side of your nature to come back in. So, and then they would decorate the hair again and comb it through and put oils on. It does sound like the complete opposite of what the Spartan, you know, for Sparta, no mercy. But that's how it worked. That's how they were. The flip side, you know, the demons of warfare, and also the peace and arts loving, you know, family man. But to balance, one had to become the other completely. And then afterwards, the bestial side would return to, you know, the peace loving side. Worked for them. Anyway, folks, cheers y'all. The birds are singing, the wind has dropped. So that means up I go. Into that big gaping hole there. Well, no fear. I'll relax these muscles. If I relax these muscles anymore, I'll have a face like fucking John Wayne's saddlebags. That's a family trait, folks. Otherwise, brawn, you know, Spartan. Just that's why I have to wear a helmet with extra, you know, bronze cheekage to cover up my visage. Anyway, folks, there it is. Hope you like it. This does not complete the Spartan stuff, but maybe for a while. Anyway, in the meantime and in between time, you guys take it easy, be safe, be happy. Watch out for these totally wild storms which suddenly appear to destroy your house with a megalomaniacal zeal, a tempest. Anyway, take it easy, keep it kilted, keep it Celtic, or Spartan. And I'm going to see you all later. Yeah, I'm covered in grease now.